Dustin, how and why do you land in Rushville, Indiana for a chocolate cafe?
So it just seemed like the perfect fit. The community support, the size of the town, and why not?
Welcome to the edition of the Hoel Truth Podcast. Today, special guest is Dustin with the Chocolat Café, and we've got a whole bunch of things to talk about. So, Dustin, take a second to introduce yourself, sir.
Dustin Cornett. I'm from Beattyville, Kentucky. It's eastern Kentucky in Appalachia. I'm the owner with my wife of the Chocolat Café here in Rushville. Also the founder of the Midwest Craft Chocolate Festival, which we launched here in Rushville as well. I like making chocolate.
So how, I think a lot of people watching this are going to like chocolate. I'm a little fat, so I kind of like a little too much of it. How did you get making chocolate?
So what happened was a long time ago, my grandma made bonbons, like caramels and vanilla creams, buttercreams, this type of thing, old-fashioned candies. Mm-hmm. And I was always struck by those. I enjoyed eating those, but the majority of my life, she wasn't making them. Like around when I was in elementary school, she kind of retired from making those things. But it always kind of stuck with me. And when I got back from living abroad in Japan, I had a little bit of time. I was kind of in limbo and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with myself. And I stumbled across her recipes. So I set out to make them, and I failed miserably. Time after time after time, I just couldn't do it. And at the time, my grandmother, she was still living, but she was kind of battling dementia. So she couldn't just point blank tell me what I was doing wrong, which was unfortunate, but she still had all those memories, which were cool. And when we would just casually talk, like she would tell a lot of the same stories over and over, but sometimes a new nugget would just fall out. And one day she was talking about it and she was like, yeah, I'd butter up the marble real good. And then I'd get, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm not buttering the marble. And I'm like, I did that. And then like the magic appeared and these things just started like going great on the slab here. And the candy was coming together. So I started being able to make these centers. So that's half the battle. Grandma back in the day always used Hershey's. She would tell stories about just calling up Hershey's and getting them to send a 10-pound bar of chocolate to her. And, that's a romantic thing back then, but today it's a little bit different. So I set out to bring my own touch to her candies and decided to learn how to make my own chocolate. So I taught myself how to make my own chocolate to basically complement her candies. So that's what got me into doing it.
So what ingredients go in? I mean, I know you're not going to want to tell us every single ingredient or, your exact recipe, but what does it take to make chocolate?
Chocolate can be as simple as one ingredient. If you want to do 100% cacao chocolate bar, it's just chocolate nibs. But typically chocolate is 2 ingredients and then I use 3 because I add extra cocoa butter, which kind of counts as a 3rd ingredient, but cocoa butter is actually in the cacao itself. So, okay. But anyway, cacao and sugar. So if I was to give you a 70% chocolate bar from a craft chocolate maker, it's going to be 70% of cacao or cacao and cocoa butter, and then the other 30% is sugar.
Okay. That's it.
Now, if you look on the back of a Hershey's bar, it's a really long ingredient list. It's a very different thing. So craft chocolate is full of like the good ingredients, the real ingredients that, the necessary ingredients.
So how do you end up in Rushville, Indiana to open a chocolate store?
Yeah, so that's kind of a long story. So when we were in Kentucky, we also had like a bed and breakfast. So I was making the chocolate. We had lodging, because we were around the Red River Gorge, which is a touristy area. And then we had our cafe. And they all kind of complemented each other. So the lodging, we ran as a bed and breakfast. So my wife would make breakfast for our guests, which they could get from the cafe. Plus she would make something warm for them as well. And it worked really well together. And then they're traveling, they buy chocolate bars, souvenirs, and go home. it was a really good flow and a really good way for us to grow our business, but very time consuming. And I was always on call. And then after we had our child, and that was during 2020 with the pandemic and all that fun stuff. So she was born. The schedule became a lot more difficult. Checking people in at all hours, really hard. Breakfast at basically any time. Yeah, my wife can't really do that so much anymore. So we decided this is not going to get easier. Mm-hmm. It's only going to get more time constraints there going forward. So we thought we kind of have to sell the place. It was our passion. We built it from a roadside motel that was just completely, we completely had to gut it. And then we themed out the rooms, like a London room, a Paris room, Osaka, Japan. We had a adjoining room, so we had an East Berlin and a West Berlin, so we're kind of fun with it. It was really cool and very unique. So it was a really big passion project. So we hated to do that, and it was my hometown, so that was kind of difficult too. But in the end, it was going to be better for all of us as a family to do that. So the Rushville part. So my family is originally from Connorsville. Okay. I was the only one born and raised in Rushville. I'm not Rushville, Beattyville. But my family is from Connorsville. So I still have aunts and uncles in Connorsville. Awesome. And one day, I was just discussing with my uncle about kind of like the struggles I was having in my hometown about not being able to get through to leadership. And I want to do more. I just have this, for some reason, inside my DNA that I just want to create things and be part of things. And I was struggling with it, so I was venting to him about it. And this was before I was thinking about selling my place or anything. And he's like, you know what? There's a little town not far from here called Rushville. And he said, they're just doing amazing things there. Anything kind of new coming is going to Rushville. They've taken the struggles that small towns are having these days, about 10 years ago or something like that, he said. They've seen what was happening, and they made a plan to go down a different path, and everybody's kind of working together to do that. And that just sounded really cool, but I didn't give it a whole lot of thought because I wasn't intending on selling my place at the time. But after I did sell my place, or was in the process of doing it, I remembered it. So I thought, maybe that could be a good fit. And we were free agents, kind of. So we were looking around to where would be best fit at. We knew we didn't want to be in a big city. Mm-hmm. We like the small town feel. We like the community. We like this type of things. So we took a trip up here, checked it out. It was really clean, nice. We went into stores. People would greet us, good morning, how are you? And it's like this feeling, I like this feeling. So called up the mayor's office, got a meeting with him the next day, brought box of chocolate bars, met with him and some special project people as Brian Sheehan and Kyle Gardner. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked. And before I was leaving there, they were already trying to hook me up with people to help me out. And before even any decisions were really made, they were already planning my life. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is kind of cool. And then even further, they connected me with Joe Rates, Sandy Fuchsner, at the chamber in the heart of Rushville. And they immediately started helping me too, and set up meetings and discussed things, and it just seemed like a really good fit and like it was meant to be, and just kind of let it fall into place. And here I am today, and with zero regrets of that at all. This is where I want to be. So
how you got one kiddo?
One child, yep.
So how old is she now?
She's 5.
Okay, awesome.
Yep, she's in kindergarten.
Awesome.
Yep,
So how long were you in Japan?
I was in Japan for about 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I was teaching English over there primarily. My favorite part about Japan is I love baseball. So I got to be part of a baseball team.
Awesome.
And so I'm the only white guy on the team. And they walk me a lot, which is great because I'm actually not a really good hitter. But I'm bigger than them, I should say. I'm not really that big. But I got walked a lot, and I'm like, yeah. They think I can hit.
So how far is the hometown from here?
From here, about 3.5 hours or so.
Okay. Still a lot of your family down?
My dad and my brother. Yeah,
okay.
We're still down there.
Okay.
Yep. So,
how much family is in Connorsville?
Aunts and uncles kind of thing.
Okay.
So not a whole lot. Don't have a very huge family.
Right.
My cousins, they kind of moved to Indy.
Yep.
So need to get them back in this area. I don't know what's wrong with them.
Where'd your wife grow up?
Osaka, Japan. It's the second biggest city in Japan.
Okay. So you met your wife while you're in Japan too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I met her over there. When I was like completely thrown off when we land in my hometown. See, I'm planning ahead. I'm thinking we'll probably end up on the West Coast. We'll probably do something where there's more Japanese culture. And she's like, you know what? I think I want to live here. I'm like, that's a curveball. I was like, you want to live here. And growing up, like to be perfectly honest, like growing up, my hometown was not necessarily the place I wanted to be. I just saw all the negative that it brought. And I think that's probably common with a lot of people. And as we age, we see things differently.
Yep.
After I traveled kind of around the world, I saw my hometown completely different. And when I came back, I saw it through the eyes of a tourist almost. And I saw all the beauty, all the nature, all like the possibilities there. So it was okay when she said that. I felt like this could be a really cool challenge that we start here. And at the time, her English wasn't great, so it was a harder transition for her just to step in and get a normal job.
Right.
So entrepreneurship was on the table there. I could create like a job for her.
Yep.
And so that was kind of the step I took. And it was a real struggle, man. Like we were living at a Bible camp. We didn't really have anything. So we were fortunate that a bank saw our vision, and the hotel the motel that we bought or were able to purchase came with a home. So we were able to get a home, which was kind of priority number one. And then be able to start that project and just work nonstop on it. And we were able to do it together. And then she was able to take the time and teach herself how to bake like she does. She's self-taught there. And in Japan, she was like a daycare type teacher. Okay. They have to have a license to be in that type of schooling.
Okay.
So she didn't really have any formal education in like being a pastry chef. But when I was working a job down there, I would come home for lunch, and she'd be watching like the Food Network like nonstop. She learned English and how to cook from the Food Network. And I would get home and I'd have a new lunch every day, and I'm like, this is great. I don't get those anymore. But during that time, like I had all this fantastic food every lunch when I came home from work, because she was learning and like taking all that in, and then she focused it all on baking, and that's where she is today with what she does with her cheesecakes. And people have been lined out the door when we first opened up, just buying all of her cheesecakes and things. So
what else does she enjoy cooking?
I love pastries. I think cheesecakes are her favorite. Okay. She likes to experiment with different things too. So she switches out kind of her cheesecakes each week and kind of does some fun stuff. But different pastries. Her cream horns are really popular. They were very popular in Eastern Kentucky too. She always had to have cream horns ready. And the Danish she does is more of a French style with the custard and the fruit and stuff on top. They're not necessarily super sweet. So in Japanese pastry and desserts, their sweets aren't super sweet at all.
Right. Yep.
So she kind of takes that approach, but she knows that she needs to make it a little sweeter because where we're at. So she does that. So it's kind of like a hybrid version, which is nice. And I think a lot of people appreciate that. The sweets aren't too sweet.
Right.
And they're all delicious too.
Well, and you've got to... as a business, like you've got to diversify, or you've got to be different. Like if yours tastes the same, if yours tastes like walking in to buy one that's in a bag, that's been processed 3 months ago, sitting in a gas station, walking in, like, that's different. And, how long you guys been married?
Oh, so yeah. So we got married in 2013.
So 12 years.
Yeah.
12-ish years.
Yeah.
So how long has she been in the States then?
Basically since 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we dated for 3 years in Japan, then got married, and the decision of getting married and kind of came together with, all right, if I'm going to be married, kind of need to think about my future as doing what I want to do.
Yep.
I didn't want to teach English. I was already like done with teaching English. So it wasn't my passion or anything that could be like a career for me.
Yep.
So we thought, all right, we can move to the States. She was always curious about that. She seemed interested in it. So that was kind of the plan. Get married, and this is like a visa process, you know.
So you couldn't even teach your own wife English? Is that what you're saying?
I was so bad.
She had to learn.
Yeah, I was such a horrible teacher. she had to learn from the hillbillies in Eastern Kentucky, right? No, she was okay, but yeah.
Well, and like, you know, so you've built this with your wife. Me and Emily, we've built this roofing business. Like, there's just it's so fun and it's so challenging at the exact same time, you know, and, you know, the best part is to build that with them, you know, and the worst part, I guess, you know, but it's always neat to look and watch, like, what you do well, what she does well, you know, because like we can really complement, you know, each other, and you know, and one thing I've enjoyed watching building Hoel Roofing with Emily is she's had to stretch a lot as a leader. Like, she's a really, really, really good follower. Like, if I'm like, let's go do this, like, half the time she only tell me it was the dumbest idea she heard. She just goes and helps, you know. But it's been fun as our company has expanded, where she's been forced to kind of step into a leadership role, you know. And you know, to me, that's probably the funnest part. Like, I thoroughly enjoy getting other people to step out of their comfort zone and grow and stretch. But like, you know, for me, it's something really special when it's your spouse, you know, so.
Yeah. There's a learning curve there when you first start, for my experience anyway, sharing a kitchen and stuff like that. So.
Well, I mean, you know, we don't know what we're doing being married, and then we don't really know what we're doing running the business, and then we're trying to learn.
Yep.
all that.
It's like,
you know,
oh boy.
all that together.
Yeah.
So what is, so kind of as the business currently is, kind of what is your role, specialty? What is your wife's?
So, yeah, her specialty is like the cheesecakes and pastries, and she does that type of thing. So I focus on the coffee and the chocolate.
Okay.
So we kind of do our separate things. Sometimes now I'm kind of asking her to come in and help me with the candies, like the confections and stuff like that. I can make things, but I have a difficult time making them pretty. She can make them pretty,
yep,
but I'm not really good at making them pretty. And then I have like no patience, and then she has more patience. So it's kind of like that. But working together is fantastic. Like, I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Oh,
and then being able to bring our daughter into that too is like fantastic. So I'm not motivated. I need money to survive, but I'm not motivated by like how much money I can make in my business. I'm motivated by how much I can do together with my family.
Absolutely.
So our schedule, it goes around my what my wife can kind of do, yep, without getting too overdone, and with our child's school schedule.
Yep.
So our hours are not great for business because we open at like 8 when we need to open earlier. But because of getting ready for school and all that and not being able to use the bus right now, we kind of have no option there. Right. So that's where we're setting at 8 to 1, only open 3 days. And just to get everything ready. We're hoping to open on Wednesday as an additional day, but we'll see how that goes, and we'll try it, see if we can get everything done. But yeah, it's like a balancing act. But I'd rather have that than the other. It's hard for me to manage people. It's not something I thoroughly enjoy. Just with the festival and everything, I love working together with a team. But it's hard for me to tell people what to do, and things like that. It's just tricky for me. So I prefer like that flow as a family and working together more so than the other.
Well, and one thing, like in today's age, so many kids are on phones and tablets and stuff. Like, we were just at a cattle show last weekend, and we've got a 6, 8, and 10-year-old, and the lady running the show, a friend of ours knew, so like she knew, you know, of us already. And like by the end of the show, like there's probably 500 people there, okay? Like we're like, where's Riley at? And she's over there helping that lady at kind of the table where they're running the show. And she's just, I mean, little Riley, she just talks about her cows and the feed and this and that, you know. So, and the lady's like, I can't believe how articulate she is and like how much, you know. I was like, but they grew up, you know. Now we're in an office the last couple years, but in the freaking beginning, like her car seat was in the truck and we were going out to sell jobs and check on job sites and pick up extra material and take material that was needed. And there's just, I think it'll be a while for my kids to ever really fully understand like how much that's going to really help them in life, because like like I said, they've got to have conversations, you know. The 10-year-old can run equipment and, you know, just at the end of the day, like it's that's exactly when you said that, like, is where I'm at. Like if people look at my schedule now, if it's not with my wife or my kids, I'm just really not that interested in doing it. Like, yeah, we've got a team to love and train and lead, and that's one thing, but like, you know, our hobby now is showing cattle, and it's a family thing. Like we go out every day, take care of them together. We have to go to shows together, like, you know. So yeah, I mean, when you said that, like that hit home. Like it's, why not live your life like that? Because one thing I've always said is like, I don't want my kids growing up hating the roofing business. Like, well, you know, Dad made a lot of money, but you know, I hate that business. You know, like
he was never there.
Yeah,
or, you know,
I'm also, I don't try to get political here on a total soapbox, but I also feel like we're starting to see a shift again of letting men be men, and there is value, in my opinion, for kids to see Dad go to work, put the work in, like, and build something too. You know, like, you know, and there's got to be conversations like, hey, I might miss this. I've got to go do this. You know, it's not that I don't love you, or, you know, it's just, you know, at the end of the day, it does take money to, you know, to provide it or whatnot. So no, that's awesome. What,
the balance. Yeah. The balance is the tough part.
Yeah. And really there is no balance. And I feel like 50 years ago, there was no balance. Like, Dad's worked 70, 80 hours a week, every week. And then I feel like we almost, the last few years, Dad was home maybe too much. Like, so like there, in my opinion, there is no balance. Like there's a season, like when you got the chocolate calf going, like, you know, maybe you're working a few more hours than you are now, you know? Yeah. So like, and I think that's okay as long as there's that short term, or we know, hey, it's going to be like this 6 months or a year. You know, you don't want to look up and be like at 5-10 years later, and now your little girl's going to her first homecoming dance, and you're like, holy cow, like that happened real quick. So what is maybe you or your wife, like what has been your favorite part about Rushville? And, you know,
and the community here is fantastic. So how we were welcomed into this community, it was just like we were from here almost. So that was the fantastic part. And when we opened the doors, like I said that before, there was lines out the door for several months. But when we first opened, and people meeting us for the first time, they were waiting in line for quite a while. But the first time they got in there to see us, they were like, welcome to Rushville.
Right.
We're so glad you came here.
Right.
And like very nice and welcoming. They were waiting outside an hour in the cold.
Right.
We didn't have what they wanted because someone in front of them got it.
Right.
It's lovely to meet you. Thank you for coming. Like, wow, this is great. And that type of like reinforcement of like our decision to just root up and go somewhere we've never been.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. So the community is the best part. We live in town. So my wife likes to walk around and on her bike and go around. She likes that too. I like that as well. She does it more than me. But being able to do that and to feel safe and just, you know, this should be normal things.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, that type of stuff is really nice. And the school is a community too. Everybody kind of supports each other. It kind of works together. And that just, I don't know, just makes us feel like this is our home, you know? So that's definitely what we like about it.
So another thing getting ready to come up is the chocolate festival, and I'll let you talk about it because it may be totally named something different, and I'm completely wrong there. But
so the Midwest,
talk about that a little bit.
The Midwest Craft Chocolate Festival. So I'll tell you how it was born, because this is another thing Rushville surprised me on. So I have all this momentum, right, moving up here. People excited about this chocolate guy coming to town. So I get tourism, the city, Heart of Rushville, like every organization I can think of together, and to have a little think tank. And I pitched the idea, hey, you guys interested in doing a chocolate festival? They're like, yeah, that sounds nice. And I'm like, all right, so do you want to do it with other stuff? You want to do like Indiana Chocolate Festival? You want to do like a tri-state type of thing? Or do you want to do like a region like the Midwest? They're like, Midwest. And I'm like, these are my people. I'm like, go big or go home. So we set out to make the Midwest Craft Chocolate Festival. So I connected with people I knew in the area, like kind of the region or a little bit further than the region, and started getting those conversations together, started building a team. We started building a team locally and as well. And the idea was born. And we created it. And last year was the first year for it. We did it downtown, which was really cool. It was a little bit of a logistical nightmare in a sense that we were like in 5 different buildings. And this is the first time I've ever organized a festival. So it was a little stressful. But it went together beautifully. And so we were, I think, probably lucky. The weather was nice. Everybody kind of knew what they were doing, where they were going. But this year we're doing it at the Love Community Center, where everything is going to be under one roof.
Nice.
Which I'll miss the downtown feel.
Yep.
But being at the end of November, you never know what the weather's going to be like. So to not have to worry about that will be great. And then not have to coordinate people from walking from the library to the courthouse. You know, it's not a super close walk. So being able to have everything under one roof will be a lot easier for us to do. So we have chocolate makers coming from all over the world. We have a maker from Japan, Honduras, Norway, Colombia, Madagascar, Canada, Mexico. Like they're just coming from all over, and then coming from all over the States as well. I'm going to be the only vendor from Indiana. Again, everybody else is from a different state or country.
So what is so where's the best chocolate made at? I mean, besides
in Rushville, Indiana.
Good one there. I didn't know if there's a a certain part of the world that it's like, hey, that's where really high quality chocolate comes from, or not.
So there's this, like, you know how bourbon comes from Kentucky, right?
Right.
Well, chocolate comes from Europe or like Belgium, right?
Okay.
This is but that doesn't really mean anything.
Okay.
That's just, there was good makers there like a long time ago that established good chocolate, and that's where that came from.
Yep.
So good chocolate can be made anywhere. And how it's grown, so it can only be grown in certain places.
Okay.
So you grow these pods 20 degrees north or 20 degrees south of the equator. It's the only place they can grow. So
I'm not very smart here. So how far is 20 degrees?
Down like up to Mexico.
Okay.
Parts of Mexico. And then down to like Brazil.
Okay.
Kind of that little area.
So pretty.
But then all around the world.
Warm.
Yeah, it's got to be warm.
Okay. Go ahead.
And it can't be seasons. It's got to be straight kind of warm going. Yeah, so primarily Africa is the biggest producer. Ghana, Ivory Coast, biggest producer of cacao. There is a whole lot to unwrap when we talk about growing cacao. Because
Now, you told me this is a fruit, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Grown on a tree. If you get that fresh off the tree, or even a few days later, you cut it open, and you kind of suck on what's inside.
Okay.
Because it's got like the little chocolatey nib things that are kind of hard. You don't necessarily want to eat those.
Okay.
But it's got like a pulp kind of
Okay.
thing around it. It's kind of sweet. So what you do when you're farming it is you get it like that, you cut it open, and then you throw all the pulpy kind of beans in there's different ways to ferment, but in like a container, and you ferment it. So you ferment it for so many days, and then you need to dry it afterwards. After it's dried, then they throw it in the big burlap sacks, and then they ship it around the world for people like me to make chocolate with it. So depending on where it's from and how it's farmed, it has different flavors naturally.
Okay.
We all know what Ghana typically tastes like, an Ivory Coast, because that's what Hershey's pretty much uses.
Okay.
Now they over roast it, so you don't get a lot of the cacao in there, because if they use a high percentage, it's going to taste like burnt Starbucks coffee. So it's just like, so people think dark chocolate equals bitter because of how Hershey's makes their chocolate, or industrial makers make their chocolate, but that's not necessarily the case. But what I'm trying to say is it has that fudginess to it, right? So that's kind of like their profile, where if you get some beans grown in Madagascar, it can have more of a fruitiness to it.
Okay.
And Hawaii is the only place in the United States that you can grow cacao, and a lot of it has fruity notes too. I got a bean in from this volcanic island that has smokiness to it, just natural smoky notes, which I find really cool. So it just kind of depends on where it's from. And then the magic happens. You have this natural taste in this bean. And then people like myself have to figure out, okay, how do I make this flavor taste the best it possibly can? What percent do I use? What other ingredient? What type of sugar do I use? If I'm doing a milk chocolate, what kind of milk do I want to do? And then it becomes a science project. So there's a lot that goes into that. So is there sugar? Do you get sugar from a certain area? You can. Brazil's a very popular place to get kind of organic cane sugar from.
Okay.
But this guy that came last year to the festival, Cesar, he's from Colombia, has a farm. He has this sugar that is like dehydrated cane juice. So it's kind of like not exactly brown sugar, but darker than normal cane sugar. And it has some interesting notes to it. So I've used that in a chocolate. And like you can use different types of sugar too that are gonna, and different types of milk as well. 'Cause we have to use milk powder. We can't use liquid in chocolate. So I've used buttermilk in chocolate before. I have a new bar coming out that is kind of like my Rushville bar in a sense. I take the buttermilk, I add maple sugar, and then I add sweet corn. And so white chocolate. It's gonna debut at the festival.
Awesome.
So yeah. There's a lot you can do with chocolate. And I should say white chocolate, since we're talking about it, doesn't have any cacao solids. So you have the nibs, which are the solid, and the butter is inside that bean.
Okay.
So you extract the butter, and then if you just make a white chocolate, you use the cocoa butter to make a legitimate white chocolate. If you go to the store and you pick up a Hershey's cookie and cream bar, that's not white chocolate.
Okay.
It can't even say white chocolate on the package because it's illegal, because there's no cocoa butter in it. There's certain rules for that. So a lot of people have never had real white chocolate. They just think it's this sweet junk they get at the store. It's like a candy bar, but it's not. Cocoa butter is the most expensive ingredient in the whole chocolate making process. So industrial makers don't use it so much. But cocoa butter, milk powder, sugar, sometimes vanilla, essential parts to make a white chocolate.
So what are some future plans? What's your vision with the chocolate festival? What's the future hold for you guys?
The vision for the festival is education. So we're trying to open up a market here in the Midwest. The East Coast and the West Coast, they have a lot of festivals and kind of events around craft chocolate. They have a lot more chocolate makers. There's a better sense of knowing what craft chocolate is.
Okay.
In the Midwest, there's less of it. But the Midwest understands farming more than the East Coast and the West Coast.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we are taking that position because as chocolate makers, we have so much passion for the farmer. They are creating this product for us that we try to highlight what they're making. So through craft chocolate, we try to create a better sustainability. So we pay higher prices for the beans so the farmer can make a living wage and to be able to use more resources and time to create a better product.
Yep.
So when they create the better product, we can create better chocolate.
Yep.
So that's the vision. So we are bringing farmers to the forefront for our festival. And through that, we are going to present education to the general customer. And then we're going to create educational paths for the chocolate maker and chocolatiers, the vendors themselves. So that's how we see our future. Where we're at with our population, it's a little more difficult to go the route of, hey, this is where you come to make a lot of money selling chocolate. So this is going to be where you come to learn about it. So that's kind of our focus. And our festival is nonprofit. So we have to kind of go the direction of that and, sponsors and donations and working with people to make it happen. You guys have sponsored us. Thank you very much. And this type of thing for our future so we can keep cost lower for everybody.
Right.
So that's kind of what we're doing. And we've got a really good start with the people coming, like around 30 or so vendors flying in. Like these are some interesting people coming with some great chocolate
Awesome.
to Rushville. So this is not a normal thing. I need to kind of say that because we're having an international festival in a town of 6,000 people.
Right.
Like it's very challenging.
Right.
It's not normal. And there's no blueprint. So we are trying to figure out how to do this and kind of taking the Rushville model of like working together with everybody. And the team is fantastic on our local team. And we have team members as far away as Australia working on things, working on our program, working on different ways to help us promote and market. And, they just, that type of approach, I think, is a successful one.
So the business, kind of keeping things the same, tweaking anything, adding anything?
The business. So I'm not a good businessman, to be honest. I need help there probably. But moving from Kentucky to Rushville, I knew there was going to be some differences, and I knew there was going to need to be some time for me to figure out what's going on. So the demand for our product is higher here. That's true. The not having lodging is tricky. So that's an aspect I have to think about, how to run a cafe, or how do I grow my chocolate where I can sell it other places to take pressure off of the cafe.
Absolutely.
So when in Kentucky, because of the area we're in, summer wasn't too bad. Like it was still, even though we're selling pastries and chocolate, it didn't really die off too much for us. Here, summer's rough. Like for our product, it gets pretty slow. So I feel like I need to adjust on maybe what I do in the summer. And then also maybe think about my peak seasons a little bit more and how I can try to do better during those times to maybe take less pressure off of the slower season. This type of model I need to create. I've been able to take the time to create like packaging for Rushville finally.
Yep.
Like this Hard Truth, we're partnering with Hard Truth for this bar.
Nice.
But this was the first package that I was able to do that has my Rushville information on it. And inside talks about my shop in Rushville and stuff too. Debuting at the festival will be 10 other bars that are new and packaged like that. That's going to give me the opportunity to seek some retail partnerships so I can wholesale, do some things like that. I need to get my online presence a bit stronger. All this stuff just takes time.
Oh, yeah.
And the time is not necessarily the thing I have a lot of. But I'm kind of seeing how it's going, and what I need to do and how to adjust. I don't want to put much more pressure on my wife to do certain things, but I think she'll probably try to take more cheesecake orders and things like that when we get organized enough where it makes sense. So I feel like, what I need to do on my own or on my side of things is maybe that direction with the chocolate, try to get that out there more.
So Hoel Truth Distillery, where is that at?
It's in Nashville, Indiana.
There's two of them, right, or not?
I think it's just one.
Okay. That's why I asked you, because I was getting ready to say something that wasn't factual, so I don't like doing that. So any other retail locations like that you're teaming up with?
Not at the moment. Okay. So I kind of set out, I wanted to do a bourbon bar again. I just really think it complements the chocolate so well. So I ask my customers and I ask around at Bubble Inc., like, who's someone good? And everybody said Hard Truth. And then the icing on the cake here, for the pun, is they get their grains from Rush County. So I'm like, this is perfect. The grains are grown here and taken there and made into their product, and I bring them back to Rush County and make chocolate out of it. It's like the circle of life. So I sent them a message, and just so happened they were looking for a chocolate product. I'm like, perfect. So I started working out things, and then we made a dark chocolate version, a 70% dark chocolate, and then we made this 55% dark milk chocolate. The dark uses rye, and this is used as the sweet mash bourbon, and they liked it a lot. So much so that they sent me a barrel. They emptied out the barrel, unfortunately, and then they sent me this fresh emptied barrel, which still smells so much of bourbon. And I'm using it to age the nibs in now. So I threw a bunch of cacao nibs in there, and I'm aging it. So this would be the first time for me to do an aged chocolate bar. So I'm looking forward to working with those nibs and seeing how that goes. So we'll have another bar.
How long do you have to age them?
Good question. I don't necessarily know that. I was thinking about trying to see if I could get a 6 month out of it and get something done before Christmas. But at this point, I don't think I will. So I might see if it's going to be ready by Valentine's. If not, I'll have it ready by next fall and age it a year.
Nice.
So I'm just kind of going with the flow with that one. So it's like it's a science project. And then working with bourbon is tricky because I soak the cacao nibs in the bourbon for over a month or so. But I can't have any water content in the machine I use, because it just makes the chocolate seize. Mm-hmm. And just a few days ago, making a new batch of the bourbon one, I had to fight that thing for hours because there was still a little bit of moisture in there. So you could see like the chocolate kind of seizing up and acting bad. And I'm like, oh no, I'm going to lose this. This is like the most expensive batch of chocolate I make. I'm like, I can't lose this. So I just had to fight it. I have a heat gun. I'm like heat gunning it, and just saved it. I saved it, thankfully. But it just is very stressful sometimes like that. So the life of a chocolate maker, man.
So what is, outside of encouraging people to come to support your store, check out the Midwest Chocolate Festival, how else can we support you?
I mean, dude, this is supporting me right here. Like, come see us, say hello. I mean, that's supporting us. You've even sponsored our festival, so that's a big support. You're helping, feature my business. That's a big support. So I think you're doing probably more than enough already. But if anybody watching this wants to support us, like, definitely just come say hello at the shop. Check out the festival. This is nothing normal to come to an area like this. We want to keep this thriving. We want to keep our chocolate makers coming here happy. So definitely check out the festival. A really cool thing we're doing this year at the festival is a VIP night. So it's the Friday night, November the 21st. It's also Christmas on Main, but we're doing it kind of after they finish their stuff. So ours will start at 7 and go till 8:30. We have Easily's Winery out of Indianapolis, and then we have Hard Truth Distillery out of Nashville. Coming up as part of the ticket, they're sampling out their wine and their bourbon. We're putting together a pairing sheet. because the chocolate makers, they sample out their chocolate as well. So you'll get to just go around the Love Center with your bourbon and your wine, and you pair your chocolate. There'll be some live music. I mean, it's going to be beautiful. And the tickets are $50, but all the proceeds will go to the Love Community Center. Awesome. So kind of giving back to them as well, because they're letting us use their facility that weekend. So, yeah, fun stuff.
No, that's it's so cool. So that you had a vision. God works in mysterious ways. You end up in Rushville, and then you reach out to Hard Truth, and they're already buying grain from Rushville. It's cool. Like for me, this community raised me, and like Indy's not for me. Indy's not for the base of my roofing company, and I'm completely fine with that, and it's so cool for me to see businesses like this grow, because like, how many people told me you can't grow a roofing business in Rushville? I'm like, well, shut up and watch me, so, but it's for me, what is enjoying is just seeing everything kind of come together and work together. And, the Love Center, we just had Z in for a podcast because I'm horrible with names. And, come to find out, we had, she got here because her husband is high up at the dog food factory. So they got the, dog food plant here, and then finally got the community center that they've been talking about for years, and not finally in a negative way, but and then now she's here running it because her husband's here helping run and then now, we're in the process of helping them fix some roofing issues that they had done on the brand new building. It's just so cool because, and for me, it's fun. Like we've got Adam behind the camera. Like he went to school for this kind of stuff. Like he enjoys this. He went to Rushville. Like how cool it is to employ, somebody with his talent, that he can keep his talent here in Rushville. Like that's what business is about. I mean, you talk about, stressing over this and struggling with that and figuring this out. It's what we're all doing. You've got we've got the same problems. They're just a little different because I'm trying to sell roofing. You're trying to sell chocolate. Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, like I always enjoy other business owners. I always enjoy visionaries. Like you said, you're a creator, and there's just something about when you're made to create. Like some people think you're crazy, but it's like, no, like I love that, our business is so, I tell our team that we're a media company that happens to sell roofing, siding, and gutters. You know what I mean? But then there's talents like Adam that we get to use, and, that kind of stuff. So yeah, like I love Rushville. Like you can complain about small towns for this or that if you want, but I mean, genuinely, like when you drive through Rushville, like I remember the downtown kind of being a little rundown, Adam's so young, he probably don't even remember that. But I remember when I tore the buildings down there used to be a bunch of old buildings there where CVS is at. And then now there's CVS, so I mean, yeah. So to me, I enjoy that kind of stuff, and, it's fun to see what all opportunities, there is around here. It's our honor to support. Like we try to be very involved in our community. I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I'm going to go ahead and have Adam purchase a couple of them VIP tickets, and we'll do a giveaway to kind of help promote that,
Thank you.
And we'll be busy with Christmas on Main because the last 3 years, somebody from Hoel Roofing, either my kids or somebody that worked here, they do a canned food drive, and we take it pretty serious around here. We've won 3 times in a row. Oh, okay. And this year my baby girl Riley's going to run, so she'll make sure, so we're going to be busy with that, but I mean, it's awesome. Thank you for your time. I'm going to encourage people, go support them. It's cool to have this talent, in Rushville. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And anybody listening, go check them out and give them support, and hopefully check out the Midwest Chocolate Festival.